right, welcome everyone to the Content Crash Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Hartnack. With me, as always, Kino Eastman. Kino, what's going on?
I'm good, man. How you been?
I've been pretty well. We missed last week, unfortunately. We both had kind of things to take care of in our personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, running around and, but now we're back. We got some time. We missed, since last week, a lot of stuff has happened. We never got to fully explore what happened at the rest of Gamescom. And then, there's been a lot of announcements lately and interesting topics to cover. But, it's been a pretty kind of hectic past 2 weeks. And one thing that I will... the thing that I really wanted to talk about last week, which I never got a chance to, and now it's here, might as well. It's been a while now. It's out in the public eye. Half-Life 3, the plot was revealed by the retired writer for the game, Mark Laidlaw. He posted it on his personal blog. I read through it multiple times, and I am like, I don't know what to think. Like the plot he laid out was brilliant. In my opinion, I really wanted to see it played out in game. I should say this is Half-Life Episode 3, not Half-Life 2 Episode 3, not Half-Life 3 particularly. I mean, it wasn't particularly stated. A lot of people have said, or speculating, is this Half-Life 3 or is this just Episode 3? Either way, it's out of the bag now. It's out in the open, and it sounded like it could have been the closure we all needed for the series, or for at least that part of the series. And unfortunately, we probably are never going to see it. At this point, it's like 99% dead in my opinion, as far as getting a real game for it. But I mean, such is life. Valve's gonna be Valve, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and they're gonna keep making money with Steam and all the other things that they have their hands in. But it's kind of bittersweet, seeing the death of Half-Life before my eyes. It is definitely one of my favorite franchises of all time. I actually remember, I played through the original Half-Life way back, and then I remember when Half-Life 2 came out, and I didn't get it immediately, but actually you got it for me for my birthday one year, actually in 2004. So yeah, I thank you for that, because it was a life-changing gaming experience. It really was. One of those games that I can always look back on and be like, wow, this was a defining game in my life.
A lot of people say that, actually.
Yeah, it really was. And it's been such a long time that now you go back to it. I actually went back to it kind of recently, played through it, just for the hell of it. And it holds up well, as far as the gameplay and all that goes. Graphics-wise, there's nothing really to write home about, obviously, in today's terms. But, back in 2004, this was pushing everything to its limit. And it had an amazing story to go with it, as well, which also changed the gaming landscape. Like, there was nothing ever this really ambitious, pushing the envelope like they did. So, it's unfortunate that it ends this way, in kind of a whisper instead of a bang. But I will forever cherish Half-Life, and I will always hold out hope for that 1% that something will come of it in the future. But such is life. We move on, and I got a ton of games to play anyway. So.
Now, do you feel it would be do you feel that you should at least give like a small novel, or like a 3-piece comic or something, instead of like a blog write-up? Do you think that would you think people would be more accepting of that, instead of just kind of being sad that it doesn't exist, period? in a way.
I've read through a lot of forums and stuff, and actually that would probably be something that the community would accept better than just a blog post. If we got, like you said, a novel, a short novel, or even a little graphic novel, like they did with Valve has been involved in graphic novels before. They did one for Left 4 Dead. So that wasn't out of the realm of possibility, and I would accept it. I want the visual, and what they had planned for it. Maybe some concept art that they can put together to show everybody what they were looking at and doing. But yeah, as I'll take a blog post right now. I mean, it's been so long that it's like. Everybody was looking for just anything, and we finally got that something. And yeah, it's a shame, but I accept it, and I will move on with my life and onto more games. So, oh well. Another one of the other big announcements recently was a Fist of the North Star game was announced by the devs behind the Yakuza franchise, and this it was kind of out of nowhere. It just kind of just dropped a week and a half ago, and I'm excited.
Look, listen. Second I saw this game and I saw that Koei wasn't like heading. I figured if this came out, it would be like a Dynasty Warriors kind of game, so I wasn't impressed. And the second I saw it was Megas Yakuza, and I saw the entire trailer, I was done. I already want it. It feels greatly stylized. It feels horribly cheesy, and I love it. What boy Ken is mixing drinks. It feels like if you haven't played anything from them before, you should just start right here. And you're gonna understand some of the love and care. Like, this looks like it's just meticulously made with so much love and little details. And I'm just, for some reason, just really hyped to play this game.
Oh, definitely, it looks like you said, over the top, cheesy, awesomeness. And the developers are, they're known. They're well known, and they're well loved. So I think the game's in good hands, and from, like you said, with the trailer we saw and all the images that have come out of it, it does seem like they are passionate and they are putting a lot of effort into it. So that's all you can ask, is them to be passionate about what they're doing, and it does definitely seem that way. So hopefully we're gonna get a pretty awesome game out of it.
Hope so.
Was there anything announced about like release timing or anything?
I think I was too hyped to pay attention.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything. Just looking quick, but it was just kind of like, yeah, no, there was no. No dates that I can see so far, but it's definitely something that we'll all keep an eye on. And then, just recently, Destiny 2 released. I never got to play the open beta. I was too busy, but I do have some friends playing it on all different kinds of platforms. Everybody seems to be loving it so far. There has been a little bit of a pushback on microtransactions within the game. I played Destiny 1. I liked it. But I'm still kind of cautiously optimistic with Destiny 2 moving forward. We'll see how long it can last and keep up the player base. I know Destiny 1, it kind of fell off after a couple months. There just wasn't a ton of content in it, but Bungie has promised that they're gonna be pushing out more and more content, as much as they can and as fast as they can. So we'll keep an eye on it. But and if it has what I'm looking for, maybe it is a holiday purchase for me, and I can jump in on the action.
I know they're supposed to focus more on the story, and I know the story was like a big letdown in the first one.
It was.
Leading from what my friends have told me, because I kind of live vicariously through my friends and all the info I was getting from a bunch of people, and the consensus I got was the grinding was killing them, and the story was lackluster.
Yeah, it was very grindy, and yeah, there was very little story. So, we'll see. We'll see how this one does, because like you said, Bungie has said they're gonna focus more on the story, and I think that's what they need to. They need to pull in players and keep the players there with a good story. So, we'll keep a close eye on it. And then next is something that was kind of awesome for me. Warhammer Vermintide, or the End Times Vermintide 2 has been announced. They're going to really reveal more information in the coming months. But I played the first Vermintide with a bunch of friends. It was on the short side, but it was awesome. It's basically Left 4 Dead set in the Warhammer world. You get to pick different characters that have different abilities, and you're just fighting all these rats, the vermin, and Ratmen. It's so cool. It's like I said, it's Left 4 Dead Warhammer edition, and it's it needed a little more content in the first game, so hopefully they'll deliver on this. But I'm really, 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 really looking forward to it, because it's a blast to play with a bunch of people. And then some interesting news on a game that I've been keeping track of. Sea of Thieves will launch with an optional mode for a 540p resolution and 15 FPS lock. I mean, I understand. Reading more into it, I understand why they're doing it. They're making it so it's more accessible to people that don't have, capable PC rigs to run the game at full. But it's just, I don't know, 15 frames per second is really, really low and really, really bad.
I don't know what kind of computer you still have if 15 is what you're pushing, but I mean, I guess that's okay.
And I don't know if that's more towards, are they just expecting that not that the graphics will be great on it, because we've seen so far what they're pushing out, and it's nothing too crazy for it's not like groundbreaking graphics or anything like this, but I don't know if they're just trying to stave off maybe some server lag. I'm thinking back to like the first iterations of World of Warcraft, where massive multiplayer, you have tons and tons of people. Like, I remember like the first time I walked into like Orgrimmar, and my frames per second just dropped to like 10 because there's so many people. So I don't this could be something like that, where it's just they're expecting a lot of people, so you can cap your or lock your frames per second at a lower level than what is optimal, and then hopefully that'll kind of take some strain off the servers. That's the only reason I can see that decision being made, but I don't know, it's really weird. I've never in these days, in the past 5 years, you haven't even seen 540p 15 frames per second. You'd get laughed out of the building if you came up with that, But I mean, it's weird to me, but I guess it's just for the accessibility, for more and more players, and I'm rooting for Rare. I hope they do good things. I'm still waiting on a beta invite. I still haven't gotten it. I really want to get one.
Don't tell me when.
I check like every day. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the game, and I'm hoping my computer will handle more than 540 15 frames per second.
Me too. Should hope so.
Then another weird announcement was the Secret of Mana remake was announced, and the Steam page is up on it, and it's a 3D remake of a 2D game. Now, we were talking before. You hadn't played Secret of Mana, but you played Legend, uh, and you enjoyed it. But I don't see the need to upgrade this to 3D. Um, the original Secret of Mana was a phenomenal game, and if they just announced a remake with updated resolutions, and then a good port to PC, I'd be over the roof. But the announcement of a 3D game, and then the assets that they showed off were suspect, to say the least.
Yeah.
It kind of, I mean, I don't want to spend money on it at this point. I really don't. I'd rather just get the original on an emulator to play through again if I wanted to. Um, I don't know. It's a really weird announcement, and I don't get it. I mean, I know the company wants to make money, but you can just make money by re-releasing the original game
Yeah.
in its
I agree.
original state.
Uh,
I'm sure people will eat it up.
yeah, like when I saw it, it made me want to redeem myself for making one of those, that top 10 list of games that you're embarrassed to say you haven't played, or movies, that kind of thing. Like, I definitely was like, oh, this is my chance.
Yeah.
Because I've been lazy to emulate it or find it somewhere else. But when I saw it, it kind of killed the, whatchamacallit, kind of killed my urge. It didn't look like something I wanted to
Hmm.
throw any time into. And I know I shouldn't feel that way about Secret of Mana.
Yeah. Well, I will. I don't know what to think on it. It's just such a weird, out of the blue decision. Just re-release the game in its original state, in a nice PC port that's packaged nice and all that, and it'll sell well.
Mm.
Just weird doing it this way. Ugh. And then that was a lot of the big news that I saw this week and the last week. There are a couple other games that were announced here and there, a couple more things shown off, but the one discussion that I'd like to have is an article that was written recently or shown off recently. At the end of Gamescom, a games journalist or a journalist at the website VentureBeat uploaded a video of a playthrough of Cuphead. Cuphead is that highly stylized, kind of old school Disney feel to it, boss shoot 'em up game, which looks amazing. And sound is I can just keep talking about how amazing Cuphead is looking, but that's not what we're here. So he uploaded a video, his 26-minute video of his experience with Cuphead, and it is just downright bad as far as his playing ability, the journalist's playing ability. I sent you the video right before we started this, and you were like getting frustrated a minute in. And it's not like he was in a level or something where it was hard or just a bunch of enemies on the screen and he's just getting overwhelmed. No, in the tutorial level where there's nothing and it's
He's
telling
jumping.
you jump here.
He's just jumping.
Yeah, just jumping. He couldn't get that. He just couldn't do simple things like that. And then when he actually got into the actual game, finally after I think close to 8 minutes of the tutorial, which should have taken you 30 seconds, he finally got into the game, and it was just like running into enemies, falling down holes, not doing anything remotely close to playing the game properly. I equate it to, think of back in the first the first Mario game, you start off World 1-1, you just run straight, you see that Goomba coming, and you just run right into him.
Mm-hmm.
And you just keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and you can't figure out the jump button. That's how this felt to me. And it's another thing that that journalism, or that journalists have come across, where another journalist earlier last year, when Doom came out, I believe it was a Polygon article, they posted a video, and it was like watching a 5-year-old play Doom. They just couldn't play it properly. They couldn't grasp it. They couldn't, they weren't moving correctly. It was like they were stopping dead in their tracks, trying to shoot all the demons and stuff. It was just bad. So it's just another aspect of should game journalists be good at games? And we're not. I believe I believe the answer to that is yes, but not as I'm not saying everybody should be a pro. If it's a multiplayer game, I don't expect you to be on a pro team. I don't expect you. I don't expect, like I was telling you, I don't expect to get a review key for like Dark Souls and I should be beating the game in a week. No, that's just ridiculous. But what you should have is the mechanics down. Basic gaming mechanics. As a journalist, you should be able to walk forward, walk backwards, jump, do basic things, especially when the game's telling you, like in this Cuphead review, or
to jump.
Yeah, just jump. It's right on the screen there. Just press the button, jump. So yeah, as a journalist myself, it's weird to see these people just have no concept of how to play things. I mean, and I don't know the background of this reviewer. Maybe he was at Gamescom and he was just like super tired. But if you watch it, I mean, it's bad. Like you said, it just jump. So yeah, it's a weird thing to see when games journalists can't play games correctly. And then, as a consumer, people who are listening out there, you're listening to us and you're listening to other reviewers on their opinions about a game, and you trust these people. You trust these people to give you informed opinions and good content that you can make an informed decision on whether you want the game or not. If they can't do basic things in that game, then you shouldn't be taking their advice at the end.
You can't really get anything from them. Yeah, you can't get anything from them because they haven't gotten anywhere in the game to really give a recommendation, huh?
Correct. So yeah, so this Cuphead review, it was more of just it wasn't a review. It was just a first impressions kind of thing from Gamescom, because the game is still a few weeks away at this point, so nobody's really giving reviews until it actually releases or is closer to release. But when I go back to the Polygon article on Doom, the reviewer did not play it properly. They were terrible at the game, but at the end, it was a full review. Like, there was an article attached to it. They gave it a score. So that's where things get a little messed up, in my opinion. If you can't play the game properly, you should not be giving it a score, because you failed. I'm sorry, but if you can't grasp the basic mechanics, then you should just give it to somebody else, And then I actually, if I'm recalling correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, people of the internet, but I believe also the reviewer of Doom at Polygon actually stated in his article, "Oh, this isn't a type of game that I play usually." Well, why couldn't you have given it to somebody else then?
It's a good question.
Somebody else who does play that type of game. Oh, shooters aren't my thing, but I'm gonna do a review on shooters. Okay, when you have a staff, as big as Polygon's is, there's got to be at least somebody else out there that could have taken that on. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating for me as a journalist just to see these people kind of make a joke out of things. I'm not saying that this Cuphead review or first impression video was the guy making a joke. He has stated that he even stated himself that he was terrible at the game. And it's not indicative of VentureBeat's actual review of the game when it releases, because who knows, it might be this guy, or it might be somebody else that does it over there. Who knows? But when you're giving a review, in my opinion, and what I try to do every time is, I'll sit down with the game, I'll play it, for a couple hours. I'll give my first impressions. I'll write them down. Then I'll go back, play some more, and then I'll make a video when I know that my mechanics are up to par with at least the average gamer. In my opinion, I try to get as far as I can and really pay attention to the mechanics and really try to ingrain them before I make a video, because at the end of the day, when people watch my video, at the end of my video, I'm gonna give it a score, and I'm gonna give it my closing opinions, and people that affects how people think, and that affects if people will buy it. But if they see me in the beginning kind of just haphazardly messing things up and dying and not jumping correctly, why should they take me seriously? They shouldn't. If you ever see any of my reviews and I am not playing the game properly, please turn it off.
I'll let you know.
Yeah,
immediately.
Please. Absolutely. Yeah, you come over and you slap me, and then I'll be like, okay, crap, I'll take it down.
I promise. I don't think, like you said, I don't think anyone needs to be like great at games. I don't think there's it's not a race. I don't think you need to. It's the time to like show off your skills or anything like that. But to not get a game on a fundamental level, especially a basic game, it plays like a basic platformer, like back in our Mario days, like you said, Goombas and whatnot. But it kind of shows maybe it's a bit harsh, but a bit of disrespect to the genre itself, or to gamers, or to playing games in general. Like, it doesn't seem like they play games. If they keep making these kind of videos, you have to question, like, do you actually play a lot of games? Do you get a lot of exposure to different types of games? Do you play games in your spare time? Do you get practice in any games that you like? What do you play? And it kind of comes into question, like you said, is this a reliable review? Should I stick around and see what they even have to say? They didn't really show me anything. I just saw a person die to the same enemy 5 times in the beginning. You should be able to take something away even if you die constantly, but never learning or not really showing off any kind of growth or anything while you're trying to give people advice on if this is a good buy, or if this is looking like a good title. What do you do with that, really? It seems kind of disrespectful, and kind of like you don't really do this often. It seems like you just talk about games, but you don't really play them, which is weird to me because you have a whole career in it.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's an interesting point you bring up, is because I've seen it more and more. Not particularly these bad videos of people, but I see people spouting or making their opinions known, not necessarily giving a review of a game, but voicing their opinions about certain aspects of certain games, and then in another breath claim, oh well, I was never going to play it anyway. Well, then okay. I mean, you know, it's a touchy subject that I don't really like going into, but you know, a couple years ago with the whole, there was the Gamergate stuff that was going on in the industry, and you know, you have a lot of people bashing developers and stuff for certain things they put in their game, but at the same time, those same people were saying, well, I'm never going to play your game anyway. You know, I saw this in the trailer for your game. This is, you know, bad, or design wise it's flawed, but I'm never going to play it anyway. Okay, thanks for the opinion, but I mean, what did that really accomplish? I mean, it's just a lot of people kind of yelling for reasons, for being offended. I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation that I don't want to get into, because I've been down that path a few times, and it's not fun. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head where it's you know, it is a little harsh, but disrespect is kind of what I got too. You're making this your livelihood, and you can't do basic functions, when there are people out there like me, or you know, like you, or the average gamer that can do the basic functions, but they're not the ones getting paid for it. You know, it's a weird spot.
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my big topic of the week. Not a lot else has been going on. I just finished up a review of a game called Distrust. The game's out on Steam. So if you head on over to warpzone.com, I don't believe the review's posted yet, but I think my editor's working on it. And I'll be probably posting a video for it tomorrow. It was a cool little game. It's a top-down sci-fi survival game. It's very, very loosely tied to the movie The Thing, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It was a fun little game, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, I got been playing that. I was playing some Rocket League, and I told you, Kino, I just picked up the Surge, so I'm really excited to start playing that. I should install it this weekend, and
Please let me know.
yeah, I definitely will. I was really looking forward to it. So, you been playing anything cool?
I have been running Borderlands 2 with the girlfriend because she's never played it. She's really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Besides that, not really, actually. I have to dive into my Steam library. It's still there. It's still haunting me.
Oh God, yes.
I still need to grab Hellblade. I'm way behind on doing that. There's a bunch of things I just have to kind of knock out of my list. I just haven't had the time. But I'd love to like finish Hollow Knight. I'd like to start Halcyon 6. I'd like to dive back into Path of Exile. Things like that. I'd like to get farther and enter the dungeon than I admit that. As far as I've gotten before, that'd be great. Little things. But nothing hugely major.
Yeah, and I also just picked up the latest Humble Jumbo bundle, which has a couple games that I was interested in. The Flame and the Flood, Infested Planet, and Human Fall Flat are on the $1 tier, and then I paid for the the Average, which has Verdun, which is a World War I shooter, which was really interesting. I almost pulled the trigger on that on the Steam sale over the summer, but I waited, and I'm glad I waited because now I just got it for $5. It also has Warhammer: The End Times Vermintide, which I told you guys about earlier. Number 2 is coming out soon, and for $5. It's an awesome pickup. And there's a couple other indie games in that bundle, and then if you pay $10, you get American Truck Simulator. So I didn't pay $10, and I just got the first 2 tiers. So yeah, I got my Steam library is now at how many games? 350.
Getting there.
Getting there, yeah. So yeah, I got a lot to get to. But yeah, that's all I got. You got anything to add this week?
I do not believe so. If I did, I definitely forgot. But no, I think you covered everything.
Other than that, just as kind of a general aside, everybody who does listen to us, if there is anybody out there who listens to us, I don't even know. People down in Florida, stay safe. We have crazy hurricanes coming, and people in Houston, sorry.
Really sorry.
Yeah, it's been a pretty nasty hurricane season. So all our thoughts go out to everybody affected by the hurricanes. Now we're just kind of bracing and watching what's going to happen to Florida, and hopefully that doesn't move up the East Coast up our way. So
stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe. So thank you guys so much for listening. This is the Content Crash Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Content Crash Pod. You can email us at contentcrashpodcast@gmail.com. Check out warpzone.com. That's where I write and a bunch of other people write, and we have awesome articles and reviews and stuff like that. Go check that out. And yeah, you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, Stitcher, that's the one, SoundCloud, anywhere podcasts are, that's where we are. And thank you guys so much for checking us out, and we will see you next time.
Take care.